Hey there, everybody. It is 1 a.m., September 10th, and this is going on now, day 3 of a very, very bad migraine and fibro flare-up. My head hurts pretty good right now, say about a 7. It's mostly on the left side. If you could tell, my eye is like halfway shut. And that always happens when I get a bad migraine. It's predominantly on the left side. So I always look a little weird because one eye is more open than the other. My stimulator works pretty well, but when the migraine is a 7 or above, it doesn't really work for those. It usually makes the pain more intense, so I have to shut it off. But the milder ones, it works, it works really good on those. It would be nice if these severe ones weren't so severe and was better managed by the stimulator. Even though it doesn't work 100% of the time, it's way better than where I was before I got it. Those smaller headaches or migraines that I would get daily that eventually would lead to a migraine attack, those are almost gone. As long as I have my stimulator turned on, I rarely feel the pain of those headaches and migraines. One downside, though, that I've noticed with the stimulator, it would change the pain into, the typical pulsing, vibrating kind of feeling, but I would feel the other symptoms of migraine more, like the lightheadedness, dizziness, the nausea. I would feel those way more. And so it's like, I'm still suffering, just not feeling the pain. And I really think the lightheadedness and the nausea is worse than the pain, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're going to throw up for hours and not do it. I don't easily throw up, so I wish I would or could. So I spend a lot of time being nauseous, and that's a miserable feeling. And the dizziness and the lightheadedness is horrible. Feels like the room is spinning. Feels like my head is full of helium. Just have no sense of equilibrium. It's terrible. Really terrible. The fibromyalgia is another thing. It flares up pretty bad when it's going to rain, which it did Saturday. We had a thunderstorm. But my pain started a few days before, which, usually is typical, and it tells me that the weather's changing. The Saturday was really bad. I woke up not feeling good, but I had to take my daughter to the hair salon to get her hair done. And I wasn't planning on getting my hair done, but I said, why not treat myself to something nice? So I got my hair done, got my relaxer, and color, and a cut. So my hair was different lengths on both sides, plus, the really short hair right here from it being shaved for the surgery back in April. So my hair was just like really random in how it looked. But now I got a nice layered bob with it short in the back and long in the front. So even though I'm in pain, my hair is done. So I would look pretty in pain. At least that part was nice. But I got really sick at the salon. Where my head started hurting more and more. And my knees were hurting really bad. And as the day went on, when I got home, I felt like extremely worse. I think my headache was probably around a 7 or 8 by the time I got home. And everything was hurting really bad. My feet, my toes. I can't bend my toes. When I do, it hurts really bad. It feels as if I had like paper cuts or something on the knuckles of my toes. And if you ever gotten a cut on your knuckle of your finger and you bend your finger, it hurts really bad. That's what each of my toes feels like. And I have pain shooting on the top of my foot and my ankles and my knees. They hurt, and they hurt more when I walk. I get very sharp pains in my knee as if I've twisted it, and those don't feel very good. My hands and my fingers, my tops of my hands feel like, they were burned, and you ever feel, like a day or two after you get a burn, just like your skin just feels really sensitive and tight, and doing it in movement, just like you get like that burning feeling. And in the palms of my hand, in the middle, occasionally it starts to feel like someone took a cigarette lighter and was pushing it into my palm. And that's really bad. If I put any pressure on my fingers, they hurt really bad. And the pain just shoots all up my fingers. Especially when I try to type, and my wrists hurt really bad when I type. So it's really hard for me to do my blogging because it hurts after maybe 2 minutes, and I have to take a lot of breaks, and then I kind of just lose my focus after a while and get tired, and just don't want to feel the pain in my hands anymore. So it takes me a longer time to type, and I don't, put new entries in that often because of the difficulty in the task of typing up a blog post, which upsets me because I want to be more regular with it, but it's not an easy thing for me to do. I'm going to need that Dragon software that I see commercials for all the time. I could speak what I want typed, and it'll show up on the computer in Word, so that'll eliminate having to use my hands so much. My chest, all across my chest, feels like I pulled it. You pull your chest muscle and it just hurts when you breathe, or if you move a certain way, if you move sideways. That's what my chest feels like without having done anything to it. And my elbows hurt, and the pain shoots from my elbow up to my hand, which then makes my wrists and fingers hurt. And occasionally it'll shoot up to my shoulder. Saturday I had really bad pains in my neck and my back, and I feel it in my spine. It's very sharp, and that wasn't very pleasant. And my back was very sore, and my side was very sore as I slept. So no position is comfortable. On my back, it's very sore, as if I was lifting heavy boxes all day. And lying on my side, is just as bad. My hips hurt, my arm hurts. It's just very frustrating and uncomfortable. And of course, I had the worst migraine it was a 10 by around 8, 7 or 8 o'clock some Saturday night. And it was worthy of going to the hospital for, because it was extremely painful, where I was almost on the verge of tears, because it's just very unfair to have that kind of pain in my head and also pain everywhere else. It's just unfathomable to me. And I just don't understand why this is my life. You know, it sucks. There's no other way to explain it except to say that it sucks. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Typically, I would have had my husband take me to the ER, but I've been going to the hospital a lot frequently, and I have a lot of bills to pay, and I had just gotten back from spending 5 days in the psych ward for in treatment, or inpatient treatment rather, because my depression and anxiety was just extremely bad, and everything going on was making me extremely anxious. Just felt like the walls were closing in on me at home, and I felt like I was going to be swallowed alive. I started becoming numb to emotions. I wasn't caring about things that I should be caring about. I started to resent motherhood and the responsibilities of it. And I can't call in sick or take time off from the job. I'm on call 24/7. And, that's a lot to deal with when you have a life of chronic pain. And I was just angry. I was angry a lot. I just would snap at people, just quick to get very angry. Because I was angry about how I have to put up with so much. And I was tired. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I wasn't suicidal. I didn't have any plans to take my life. However, I felt like I shouldn't have been born, or I was feeling that I didn't want to be here anymore. It would be better off if I were dead, but they were just thoughts. Nothing could push me to that point again, because I refused to traumatize my family that way again. It was very hard to get over the guilt and the embarrassment and the shame of my suicide attempt. It took me about maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe 6, to truly get past that. And there's always going to be some guilt there, and a lot of confusion, because I didn't realize how long I've been in the hospital until I really kind of came to and woke up in the ICU 2 days later, and I had no memory and no idea of what happened after I got to the ER. And it was just a shock to me to wake up and have a tube down my esophagus, or my trachea rather, to help me breathe. And I was heavily sedated, almost like in a medicine-induced coma. Although I guess I did have moments where I would wake up, which I don't remember. But when I finally was aware of where I was, the first thing I saw was my mother sitting at the side of my bed. She was crying, and I felt really bad. I couldn't talk because of, the respirator, so I got a pad. The nurse gave me a pad and a pencil, and all I could write on there was, "I'm sorry," and gave it to my mother. So I felt really, really, really bad. I think I remember my father standing in the doorway, and I think maybe my husband was there with him. I can't really remember. I was so out of it, and at that point I didn't know how long I was there. It was hard, and I have questions about, what happened those 2 days I was out, to fill in, these blanks in my head, but I don't want to ask anybody that because I don't want to bring it back up. Because every time it's talked about, it's re-traumatizing. Like, I don't know how everybody else has dealt with it. I know for me, there were a lot of negative emotions about myself for doing what I did, and the outcome of it, and how it hurt the people that I love most. So, that's something that takes a lot of time to get over, not really get over, but to be able to forgive yourself for what you did. We're always the hardest on ourselves. And with someone like me with anxiety, all the negatives in my life just play over and over and over again in my head. It's like a 6-lane superhighway of negative information just constantly going at a high rate of speed. It's just a constant drilling in my head of, you're bad, you're no good, you're terrible, you're a bad person. And every negative memory or every mistake that I ever made plays in my head like a movie. And not being able to control that, or to stop it, or to shut it down, or to shift your thinking to something more positive. I mean, you really literally feel like you're going crazy. And I was definitely at that point. I just literally felt like I was cracking. Like I could feel myself getting ready to fall apart. And I knew that was not a good thing. And as nervous and scared as I was about admitting myself, to the psych ward, I knew it's something I had to do. I had to get out of my house because it was feeding the anxiety and the depression. And I felt just out of my mind at home. And every normal thing that happens in life became way too overwhelming. Way too overwhelming. And I just couldn't handle it. I needed to be somewhere neutral. A place where I didn't have to think about, what am I going to cook for dinner? Or, I have to get this laundry done. Or I need to clean, my bathroom. I need to clean my room. Or I need to get the kids to do their chores. And I need to go and do the school shopping. And it's just like way too much. Way too much. And at the hospital, I didn't have to think or worry about that. Even though the first 2 days, I felt extreme guilt for leaving my husband with a big plate of responsibilities that he usually doesn't deal with. The kids haven't gotten their school supplies yet because I just couldn't deal with it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go. It was just stressing me out just thinking about it. And weekend kids had on vacation and to 4th, the day after Labor Day. So my husband had to do the school shopping and get a haircut and get them off to school, and I felt really bad for like kind of dumping them on him, which is why I should have done that earlier when the kids were Buffalo with my mother-in-law. So it was not impacted everybody so much, but for some reason I thought it would start to get better, but that didn't happen. It actually got worse. So the timing was really, really bad. But if I didn't go, I had it. I don't know how I would have been at home. Probably just extremely irrational and inconsolable, mean, angry, sad, anxious, just everything I don't want to feel. So those first 2 days I had a lot of guilt, and that was playing in my head all day for those 2 days. Had a hard time sleeping, had a hard time focusing. It was tough, and it's not easy to not focus on that. So the psychiatrist, when I saw him the first day I was there, he increased my Wellbutrin from 300 to 450 milligrams a day, which is the highest dose, I think, the maximum dose that you can take. You got to be careful with Wellbutrin because it does give you a lot of energy, which could then I think that fuels my anxiety. And I take it in the morning, so it wouldn't affect my sleep, but my sleep has been really bad. I have insomnia, and my sleep is terrible. And insomnia is a side effect of fibromyalgia. Sleep disorders are. And, with all the medications I'm on and the migraines, it's just, sleep doesn't come easy for me. Like, I should be asleep right now, and I'm not. And I took 200 milligrams of trazodone, and I'm still awake. Never got drowsy or anything. That stinks. And my regular dose is 150, and that wasn't working, so I figured 200 would. Well, no, it didn't. So I probably need to email my psychiatrist and ask her if it should be increased once more. I take way too many pills. My husband hates that I take so much medication. I also have Klonopin for when my anxiety gets really, really bad. It's not an everyday med. It's as needed. And that medicine is, you could get, addictive to it. So I really don't take it. I only took it one time at the hospital to help me be able to go to sleep because it'll calm the anxiety down where I'm not focused on it, and I can fall asleep easier. Without being able to shut your brain off, there's like no way you can really sleep. I mean, one night took me 2 hours to fall asleep, and then I woke up once I fell asleep like every 15 minutes, I think. So that night was really, really bad. And I still can't sleep. It's frustrating. But eventually, while in the hospital, I was able to, once my anxiety was calmed down, I was able to really work on shifting my focus and changing the way I think about myself. And we had groups all day, different groups. Most of them were about self-esteem, stress management, anxiety management, just trying to find the positive things about oneself. And having to do a lot of those exercises made me realize that I am a good person and I have a lot of good qualities. I have a lot of accomplishments. One being my children, because they're very well behaved and well mannered. They don't disrespect anybody. They're polite. And they don't do anything outrageous. I really don't have to worry about them. For instance, my daughter, who's 14, she is what I like to call an old-fashioned 14. Because these days, young girls, or young teenage girls or preteens, they become just heavily like into boys, makeup, wearing, outfits that's inappropriate for their age. My daughter is not like that at all. She could care less about boys. She's still kind of like a tomboy. She doesn't like skirts and dresses. So she wears jeans every day. Her nose is always in a book. She's always reading something. She's extremely talented. She's gifted. She's very smart. She focuses on school. She gets very, very, very good grades. And that's it. And she's awesome. Not just for that, but her personality is very awesome. I envy it. Because she doesn't have a problem stating whether she agrees with something or not. Because of that, and because of, her morals, because of what I instilled in them, she doesn't, none of her friends are girls that are boy crazy, makeup crazy, clothes crazy. They're all pretty much, in the same league as her. That's a good feeling because I never have to worry about that. She's a really good girl. A really good girl. I'm very proud of that. My sons are very good too. They're boys, so it's a bit different. They tend to make my nerves more than my daughter, because raising boys is completely different than raising a girl. There's different challenges. My youngest is, he's so cute. He's 10, he's in the 5th grade, which I still can't believe. But he has such a baby face. In my head, he's still 8 and in the 3rd grade. So, he's my baby. So there's a lot of sentimental things there because he was my last one. And you kind of want to keep him has, babies in your head. It doesn't help that he's very soft-spoken and just, has like a baby kind of voice. He's very shy though, and he has selective mutism, which is an anxiety disorder, which I feel bad about because I have anxiety. So I kind of passed it down to him, and it was in the form of selective mutism, where when he's in very uncomfortable alien situations or environments, he shuts down and doesn't talk. His anxiety gets so bad where he just won't respond. He'll just look at you because he is so anxious about the situation. So, like in the third grade, they thought that he had a learning disability, and he had to, or so he had to sit and talk to him, school, and she doesn't do well because he doesn't know whether he understands. He's too scared to. I know that that's not what it is, because when he's around family, he's very talkative, very loud, and has a lot to say. So I understand how that feels though, and I wish he didn't have that issue. But I started taking him to therapy, and it was group therapy with other kids my age with similar issues. And for a couple of months, then it became hard for me to take them because my migraines were really bad. It kind of kept going. I made a lot of progress, and I was doing a little bit more talking. So at this point, he was in 4th grade. And he was still quiet, still shy. He was more responsive, but not as open and willing to talk as he should be. But he's getting better. He's in the 5th grade now, and he's still doing a bit better, but he could still use the help to help open up and ease him. I don't want him to be on any medication, because young kids shouldn't be on any type of antidepressant or anxiety medication. It's just like their brains are still forming. It's just not a good idea to me. My next option for him is pet therapy with horseback riding. And there's a ranch that's only about 5 miles away from here. And one of the girls that I met in the psych ward, she told me about this ranch and about the couple that owns it, and that their rates are reasonable, and they do, very, very well with the therapeutic lessons. How the horses are great, and they really take their time with the kids or adults who are there for the therapy. And on their website, they have selective mutism as one of the disorders that they use the pet therapy for. So I asked him, would he get on a horse? And he got excited. Then something kind of shut him down, and he was worried about the horse running or him falling off. And I told him the horse is especially trained to be therapeutic, and somebody would be walking alongside him. The horse would not run, it would just walk. And I asked him, so is this something you want to do? And his first answer was kind of a no. So I asked him if deep inside, that little voice that tells you what you should do, I asked him if that voice was telling him yes, but he's afraid to say yes, so he says no. And he said yes. So I explained to him that's anxiety. It makes you fearful of saying how you feel because you think, you're going to get a negative reaction from whoever you're talking to. And that's what I have too. It's just different for me, the way I display my anxiety. His is through shutting down and not talking. Mine is, I don't know, it's getting real short-tempered and snappy and angry, and just feel like I don't have control over it. So you can always do that. I sent an email about their race and explain, about him and how I would like to ride again because I really love riding horses. And it might help calm riding my alpha by doing doing something that I'm getting out of the house because I really need to do that more. I spend way too much time in my safe zone in my bed, in my bedroom. So anyway, I know I keep going here and there, but the stay at the hospital really helped me. It's not catered for individual therapy, so I really took advantage of what the groups were for and really tried to learn a lesson of, through each group and really apply, the coping skills and, the shifting in my attitude. I really worked on it. I made myself, really look at the things that I'm good at. A lot of the exercises involved us writing those things down, so it helps to have it on paper, because that makes it real. It's one thing when it's in your head, but writing it down makes it real, and it makes it more believable. So, that really helped. It really helped a lot, and being able to not beat myself up and forgive myself for any mistakes I made or by hurting anybody that I love or, not being the best person I could be all the time. I forgave myself for that, which gave me the freedom to start liking and loving myself because I didn't before. And, it's really nice. It's really nice to be positive. I have my moments still, but I have to redirect my focus. It's something I really have to work at. But I have not been this positive about myself in a number of years. I really can't remember the last time. So, taking care of my mental health before now, once every week, usually it's, every other week I see her, but going once a week just helps keep whatever I learn, in my head just fresh and keeps me working on my goal. and was communicating with my psychiatrist about how my migraine. So I continue to try to be proactive. Now, I just wish I could change the way my migraines are, so I can't fix every single one of them. And I really wish I didn't have fibromyalgia, but I've had these headaches for so long, these chronic migraine for 4 years, so my nervous system is haywire. It thinks everything hurts now, because it was already, hypersensitive as it was with the migraines. It just extended me every other part. I'm still not the perfect fat. I haven't had fibromyalgia yet. It just makes no sense how things hurt and it hurts bad and where they hurt. It's just like, why do I have to put up with this? Why do I have to deal with this? Kind of makes it more real that I have disabilities, and it really impacts my life and how much I can do. And I hate feeling like I'm being lazy or inactive, but a lot of the time I hurt, and it could be mental pain from the depression or anxiety, emotional pain, physical pain, sometimes all three at once. It's just very overwhelming. And I try to stay as strong as possible, and I have many moments of weakness. So, like today, trying to fight the migraine, and can't really do much with the fibromyalgia. I probably will email my rheumatologist tomorrow as well. If I need to increase Inderal or do something more than the Flexeril or increase the dosage, because last time the Flexeril was taking it 3 times a day. I just automatically did that again, but it wasn't at all. So it just seems like my tolerance is just so high for medication, because I've been taking medicine, on and off since I was 9. It's just ridiculous. It really is. So I have to take more of something for it to work. And that's just, the side effects alone from medication makes you wind up with disorders, because it just wreaks havoc on your body, and it's ridiculous. And at 34, I shouldn't have like 12 medicine bottles in my table drawer, and a pill organizer for the week. I have 2. I keep one in my purse in case I'm out, and one on my table. And it's just very depressing when I have to fill them back up, because it's just, I have to take out all these bottles and sort my pills, and it's like, who would want to do that at 34? Certainly not me, but I have to. Because if I don't take them, I'll be miserable and in worse pain than I am now. As hard as that is to believe. So, it's an interesting life. This weekend was filled with pain. Not what I planned. So, but it is what it is. And it does no good to sit and complain and whine about it, because it's not going to make the pain. I try to focus or just occupy my mind with activities. So I play solitaire on my phone or on my iPad. I love playing solitaire. If my hands aren't hurting, I do that. Just holding the pen and holding the book. My hands will strain me, so can't do that. So basically, that's about all. It's been a while since I've made a new video, so I wanted to update everybody and show them my progress and what I'm still working on and what's still ailing. Starting today is Invisible Illness Awareness Week, and I'm proud to say that the website will be posting a blog post that I wrote about invisible illnesses on Tuesday. And I ask you to visit their website at www.invisibleillnessweek.com. There's a lot of good information, guest writers or bloggers, and links to many people's blogs, and there's images that people have that are their images of hope. It's very inspiring. You can learn a lot. There's nothing wrong with educating yourself about something that you never discussed and dealt with in silence. So please go to the website www.invisibleillnessweek.com and learn something new. And then you get a better idea about people like me. There's millions of me's out there in the world, so it helps to validate us. The more people that learn about it and support causes that help bring awareness to the general public and start to demand better funding and more recognition and just more causes that help raise money or just increase the knowledge base of the world about invisible illnesses, which includes mental illness. So all my disorders and migraine disease are invisible illnesses. So I look okay, but I'm really not okay. And that's a tough pill to swallow. So, well, that's all for now. I guess I should try and see if I can go to sleep. Hopefully I can. And thank you for taking the time to watch. I know this has been a long video, but I do appreciate you watching. And I hope to speak to everybody really, really soon. Thanks. Bye.